Welcome to the Comic Binge. I am your host, Paul Herman, and today we have the return, finally, the return of Long Live the Legion, our long-standing and hopefully never-ending Legion of Superheroes comic binge. So super excited to have the regular crew all back together because, you know, we couldn't do it without the regular crew, which, of course, is not only yours truly, but we have Chris, the Reverend Clow, with me, and also comic writer extraordinaire Joe Corallo coming back. Thank you again for thank you for coming on and giving us comics to read, Joe, because I Lord knows I don't need more of those, but but
absolutely.
But anyway, we are one show closer, or this show in before we get into the very highly regarded Great Darkness Saga? Is that what it's called?
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Great Darkness Saga. Okay. Mm-hmm. Okay. So we've got a lot to go through today, which I'm very excited about. You gave us, did I count 20 or 18?
I think it was 18, but I think I also said there's more you could also read, and like listed some others. But like it was 18, maybe 20, but like a big, not all of them, but a big chunk at least were 17-page issues. So
yeah, they were. Yeah, they were
shorter. But yeah, it was still a big chunk, but it was the only way to do this so we could get to the Great Darkness Saga next time, because, and even the stuff, and obviously we're going to get into it, like a lot happens that changes the Legion as we know it, like multiple times before we get to the Great Darkness Saga.
All right. Well,
you're
Chris
doing justice to the name, the binge. I'll put it that way. You know,
yes.
I mean, it's the same kind of approach that I tried to take when I walked everybody through Infinite Crisis. You know, I mean, there's the main series, but there's context too. And I don't know if maybe younger readers gives this era enough credit for the layering that the storytelling did outside of maybe Stan Lee's run on Amazing, you know?
Yeah.
I mean, this stuff, and it's more obscure, arguably, just in terms of public consciousness, but being anchored for at least part of it by a derivation on Superman helps.
Yeah.
But there are some really cool characters here, you know? I mean, I was someone who was swept into the Legion in like 2007, 8, and it's just scratched the surface. But the real meat of the material, I think, comes from the interpersonal relationships that these people have with each other, but also, too, there's like a whole other level of the relationships when you bring in the Fatal Five, certainly, and the subs, and going into an event that is as well regarded as Darkness Saga. I think it's good to have that context. So thank you for taking our title to heart as you guide us through this.
Yeah, no problem.
Really quick, I want to ask, so before we kind of get into, like, we're going to break down a little bit of every issue and kind of leading up to what we're doing here. So this is predominantly, not all of it, the little bit beginning's not, but it's majority Jerry Conway, the legendary writer, right? So
we are covering this is the start and end of his run.
Right. With like Paul Levitz, this issue is Paul Levitz, though, right?
Yeah, this is like Paul Levitz was just leaving. I think there's maybe one or two other Paul Levitz scripts or plots later on.
Yeah.
But he's leaving the title. Jerry Conway had done some fill-in issues here and there.
I remember that.
You know, so we skipped over a bunch of them just to keep things moving. But so he was doing fill-ins. He was like the regular fill-in writer. So when Paul left, he really took over.
And those who don't know, Jerry Conway is obviously most famously known for killing off Gwen Stacy, and
creating
is responsible as and then like basically bringing in the Bronze Age. I would say Jerry Conway is almost single-handedly responsible. Not single-handedly, but almost. You could argue him alone brings in the age of the Bronze Age, which is I think some of the best comics ever, superhero comics ever written. But so my question is, when Conway took over Legion of Superheroes, which was what, late 70s at this point, I'm assuming.
Late 70s into the very late 70s. I think we're in like 78 to like 80 or around here where he's writing.
Is he
the
so
cover
where?
date
I mean,
for our first issue, just for context, real fast. The cover date for the first issue is December of 78, and I'm not sure if at the time it was the same thing or not, but like since like the mid 90s, I think maybe before that, the cover date was about 3 months ahead of the calendar publication date. So we're probably looking at like late fall of 78, and there's a couple of issues here that advertise a sweepstakes to get a walk-on part in Superman 2, which I find charming.
It's adorable.
Well, so my question is, what is your knowledge of where Conway is at now in the industry? I'm just curious because, I mean, he's obviously a legend, but what was he at? Do you know where he was at this point in his career exactly at all? Anything?
I believe he left Marvel around this time in part because of Jim Shooter's like growing influence. I don't think because he was like EIC at Marvel for like a hot minute. I think a few months or so prior to this. So like Jerry would go back to Marvel, but like him, Roy Thomas, a bunch of Marvel people ended up splitting and going to DC around this time. And this, I believe, is before his Batman run. Like it's a little before his Batman run, which I love. And I think more people should give a shot to. He created, Killer Croc and Jason Todd and had some really great stories on Batman, but yeah, he was writing Justice League. I mean, this was right around when Jerry Conway was the like a big name writer. Like this is probably some of the biggest stuff he's done around here, just because he had built up his name and was becoming more. And now he had like done the big move to DC and was making some headway there, but yeah, it's an interesting era, because Jerry Conway, unlike Paul Levitz and Jim Shooter, I don't know as much about Cary Bates, but certainly for Jim and Paul, they were huge fans of the title. And Jerry wasn't. Jerry took this as a job of just, because he had to. I mean, he basically wrote every major big two character that was around in the Bronze Age, like at some point, because he wrote so many team books. I mean, he didn't do X-Men, but in terms of like the Avengers related characters, the Justice League characters, like he had covered a lot, not necessarily runs, but he was just always doing something that there's like just random fill-in issues for different characters too. But all that said, he took this as a job. He took it seriously, but he's not approaching these characters with the same love for them. So I think that shows a bit in these stories that he's an outsider coming in, and what can I do to shake up this team? Because there's a lot of shakeups, and I think shakeups that someone who maybe loved the team more might not have gone for. because it's hard to see someone like Paul Evans at this time do some of the things that Jerry did.
For sure. So let's look. I think the first like 3 issues you had us read, or is it 2 or 3? I think are written by Paul or plotted by Paul Levitz. And I think,
and like Len I think is writing them.
Yeah. So let's get started with these first 2 issues here. So we've got kind of like the first story A is not really, I think, prevalent, but it's story B. We have Superboy and the Fatal Five. That turns more into an interesting story. So that's kind of where we should probably, I'm assuming we're going to focus on.
Yeah, no, for sure.
Okay. So we've got 246, 247, and 240, and then 250, right? Is how it all breaks down.
Yeah, then we jump over to 250, but yeah.
Okay. But 246 and 247
are like the first story. Yeah, the first.
Yeah. So, and it's basically just a Fatal Five. They are, if I remember this correctly, they are turning a new leaf, quote unquote. Correct. And but it's cool because I love the Fatal Five. They're like probably my favorite, part of the Legion. And it's always great to see him. And I thought this was a solid, Andreas, what's up, brother? Solid, a solid story for Superboy to kind of, go up against and then like team up and be like, oh, you guys are the monsters. You're trying to do good, but you're really doing evil still. I don't know. It's a solid story. Take us with it, Chris, or Joe, and then I'll get your thoughts, Chris.
Yeah, no, I mean, for me, it works. It was different enough. Like, I don't think it's not going to be anyone's favorite Fatal Five story, but it's like, oh, they need to come back now and then, and I think you could also see why, because this was like plotted by Paul, but Paul's editorial duties and other things were starting to get in the way of him being able to stay on the Legion, which is part of why he left. So, I mean, so you can see it as a kind of story that's like where Paul's like, yeah, I need to step back from the book because, like, it's a solid story. I don't think there's any particular thing, wrong with it. And there's some good character moments, but it's not like it's not required reading. It would never be in a collection of like the best Fatal Five stories. It's fun.
No. Yeah, exactly. So I think the context of this, I think why you had us read it is because the Fatal Fives later on, like where they're established later on, as we pick them up here in a little bit. So, Chris, anything you want to say about these 2 issues?
I just really like how the way these ended, because it rings pretty true when it comes to like this. Well, I mean, Corvan 4 is kind of displayed as a pretty simple place with people who are generally pretty good natured, and then all of a sudden they're drawn into this larger conflict. And it's not that the Fatal Five is necessarily using them as pawns, but I don't think their interests are as in focus as maybe they characterized to the Corvanians, or however you want to refer to the indigenous members of the planet. And when they stand up and they're just like, look, enough of this. All right. We would like to determine our own destiny. And the Fatal Five actually has enough awareness to be like, yeah, you're probably right. I mean, we were trying to help, but clearly we're not. So see ya. I just liked the implications of that, because it's a story that we've seen play out in our own world quite a lot, of relatively benign territory that's drawn into a conflict between 2 larger powers. And what does that mean for the people who are caught in the middle? And in this case, they stood up and said enough. And I like that.
Yeah. No, for sure.
But yeah, I mean, is it super layered and complex? No, probably not, at least not by today's standards. But if you are maybe a younger kid and you're reading this, it's a really cool kind of into what is a larger sort of problem that can, steamroll smaller powers. And I mean, those germs of the ideas are the things that lead to more well-developed understanding later. So, yeah, I
Yeah,
liked it.
no, definitely.
So,
Nope.
yeah, wrong one. So with the next issue, I'm trying to remember what happens in this one. I think all I need is I think this is when the real Conway run for us anyway gets kicked off a little bit, because there's a couple of issues after this into
Yeah.
250, but this is actually written by Conway, right?
This one is Paul. It's back to Paul for this in issue
Oh,
251.
okay,
But
okay.
so it's illustrated by Jim Starlin for both those issues, but Jim and Paul didn't like agree on the story, and Starlin had like a different idea or expanded on different things, and it was supposed to be like 60 pages total, but it ends up being, like a little under 50, I think. So they ended up cutting a bunch of pages. And that's why Jim was like, I don't want my name on the book. Like, put Jim Apollo.
That's so weird, because I was like thinking like this art's really good. Like,
Yeah.
I remember being like, it just was like, that's so crazy. It's Jim Starlin.
Yep.
So that's wild, because I'm like, man, this is actually a really good, like there's actually I picked a panel out of Wildfire because he's my boy. Still my
great.
he is definitely easily my favorite guy here. Where is it? I thought I had it up here.
He's a great choice.
Dang nabbit. Where is it? I thought I put it on here. I guess I didn't. It's the one here. I have it right here. I'll just show it to you, and I'll blow myself up. But it's the one where it shows, you probably see her here. It has the skull and is, oh god, it's so rad. Oh, see, Andreas, that's peak. So anyway, no, Jim Starlin is just, yeah, it's so crazy. He took his name off it because him and Paul couldn't agree. Chris, you want to go ahead?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
That's what I was going to ask you about, because I was looking into this, and the DC database mentions that this and 251 were originally supposed to be a part of a 64-page Legion spectacular that DC backpedaled on. And and that's the thing that Starlin took issue with, was cutting that off at the knees. Okay. That's interesting. I wonder why they did that.
Yeah. No, I'm not sure either. I guess they must have thought that it would sell better as part of a 250 celebration issue. Like, I don't know, but like either way, like that was the big issue, and it's because of that, like it's words by Paul, because he had to also end up writing it, make the changes to make it work as a shorter story.
Wow.
That's a lot of pages.
But this story was not Paul's idea. Like doing this with Brainiac and Matter Eater Lad, that was Jim's idea.
That's cool. I mean,
wait. Hold on. Time out. I need to figure this out. So Brainiac going crazy was a Jim Starlin device.
Yeah.
It wasn't even Jerry Conway.
No. It was Jim Starlin came in and fucking mic dropped the status quo of the Legion and walked out.
Whoa. Wow. Were you waiting to drop that on us? Because I'm like, I'm kind of speechless right now. That is wild.
No, it's
holy
crazy.
Shit.
It's crazy.
Yeah, because you can kind of tell That is wild. Wow. Okay, so because the Brainiac thing just comes out of effing nowhere.
Yeah.
Like the only thing I was thinking about was that one issue. And ironically, I think Conway was the one who wrote. Maybe it wasn't, but I swear one of the last things we read was Brainiac discovering who his father was.
Yeah, I think that was a Shooter issue. That was one of, like, the last
Shooter.
it might have
Okay.
been the last Shooter issue.
Shooter
Was
issue.
the
Okay.
Pulsar Stargrave and the reveal that
Right.
he's like the original Brainiac and has a connection to Brainiac 5.
Right. So, but Stargrave, I was thinking, is that where this was headed towards? Because he starts going crazy. I'm like, well, his tie to Brainiac and his dad and everything. Like, where is the tie? And then, like, we'll get to that later. But I was like, is this why they did it? What did Jim Starlin ever like say why he decided to make Brainiac go crazy?
I mean, there's a chance that, like, I haven't heard it, but I have to imagine that it was fleshed out better in the original, like, 60-something page, like 64-page story. Because, like, I can see Jim's problem maybe being like, oh, there was stuff to do, but they cut it, and Paul was in a position to just be like, oh, well, he just went crazy. We don't have, it's good enough.
Oh,
We got to keep the story going. So, like, I really wouldn't be, because that would make sense if that was what was cut, because it does feel, it feels abrupt, but they also just kind of run with it, and they don't really look back on it.
They don't. So yeah. So I guess because what's weird is, like, by the way, God, I forgot what's the heck this guy's name. What's his name? No, is it Omega?
Oh,
is
yeah.
that his name?
Yeah, he's oh God, yeah, it's yeah, he's Omega.
He looks like okay, so Omega looks like a Jim Starlin creation.
Yeah,
like
exactly.
What 1000%. I actually really liked Omega. I thought this was like, notwithstanding, like we can kind of move on to the next issue too, because this is like it's weird. What's weird, really quick before we move on, I have one quick question, because this is 250. Then we read 253. So Omega shows up, but then like doesn't come back for like 2 months. Is that a byproduct of like? Right, because it was on DC Universe app.
I think you had one issue after the other. It should be 251. That's the wrapping up Omega.
Am I crazy?
The thing is,
okay,
but we do keep going back in the different issues to like Matter Eater Lad in the Asylum and all of that. Like that does keep coming back. So you might be thinking of like what of the many
you're right.
that we get.
I'm out of control. Okay.
No, you're fine. It's flashback a lot.
Okay.
What happens with Brainiac between 254 and when we pick things back up in the reading order? Was it 250? I guess after 258. No, I'm sorry. It was.
No, you're fine. Like this is a straight shot now. Like this. I had guys read all the way to
259 or 88. Yeah. Okay.
It's 258, but then it becomes for 259. It is now just Legion Superheroes. And
okay. All right.
Yeah. I had you guys read that chunk because like so much happens in that like span of issues,
right?
Including stuff with Brainiac.
And Brainiac escaped, right? From
what was it? Brainiac 5 ends up like having to go into an institution,
a mental institution.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah.
But like he's more like free roaming. He's like he has like a room he's in, but he's not like like a cell like Matter Eater Lad is.
Right.
Dude, the Matter Eater Lad thing was okay. it was very weird how it all kind of came out of nowhere, but I kind of like that Matter Eater Lad kind of went nuts. Like I
Yeah.
kind of like that. Like Brainiac 5 was this, it was just kind of like what, but I kind of like the more extreme Matter Eater Lad thing. Like they have like he's gone, you know, like there's no there's something like it just corrupted his brain. You know, was it where did he look at the mirror? What was it he looked at again?
He ate
Ate
the miracle machine that Jim Shooter.
That's right.
Yeah,
that's right. Because because they used that. Oh my God, that's crazy. I remember that. Okay, that's right. Because Brainiac was going to use the miracle machine, and they didn't want him to use it, right?
Yeah, it was the thing. They were basically like, Brainiac was, I can solve this by using the miracle machine, and they were and they were like, we don't trust you. So then he devised the plan to have Matter Eater Lad eat it then.
5 steps ahead.
It's wild, dude. It's wild.
It's crazy. It's the sort of thing, if you told someone, you would kind of be like, oh, that had to have happened in like the 90s or something. And it was like,
right?
No, this happened in the 70s.
Dude, that is wild. That is, I was not prepared to hear a Jim Starlin story in this. That's amazing. Starlin, he's a legend, man. Oh my God.
Really
all right.
is.
So yeah, so for the record, even though it goes awry, I like the Omega stories. I like them. So like they're fun.
Sure.
I like the whole oh, I gotta face my own person, and then he's like, oh, I'm not really the Omega. It's so but that was great.
Yeah.
So all right. So next we get the let's see here. This issue was very forgettable, to be quite honest with you. I was not my favorite of them. You know, some of the layouts are pretty solid. This is where Joe Conway kind of starts his run, essentially, right? This is where it officially does.
This is because it says like a new beginning for the future's mightiest heroes, as told by Jerry Conway and Joe Staton. So this is like the start of the run.
I will say the page where I'll throw it up on my this right here is, I love this, like kind of not really a splash page, almost a splash page of Saturn. Is it Saturn Girl? And going into Mind of Matter Eater Lad, and he's just like, this big goofy grin on his face. It's super good. Like I will say I did like that, but once it goes into like the main story, I'm like, not really my thing. So that was kind of a little bit rough, but it was cool to see, you know. Yeah, go ahead.
But also, not only is it cool to see Jerry Conway doing it, but like the problem is, once he starts a run, he writes in a way where he's writing for the long term. So like this issue, it's the very beginnings of the RJ Brand goes broke bit. You have RJ. This is the first like sequence of scenes, and it builds on it, and like so you get like a nice Conway type subplot that turns into the main plot bit going. That feels very Marvel compared to a lot of what DC was doing.
For sure. Now, before I move on, Chris, anything you want to comment on that issue particularly, or no?
Not particularly. I mean, I think that what I appreciate about this is that it feels like pretty substantive character aftermath from the Omega battle, you know? And I wouldn't have necessarily thought that they would spend time with it that way, because this is really an era that is marked by, you know, issue to issue storytelling, boom, 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 kind of anthology style in a lot of cases. Not exclusively, but largely. It's another good example of just using character work to try to say something more about the cast and to invest you more in what they're going through. So on that basis, I appreciated it. But I mean, I don't disagree with you that we have more substantive stuff to come, certainly.
Right.
Yeah.
Well,
Oh, yeah.
I think this issue now, this where it really picks up for me. Like I'm enjoying it at this point, but when we get the League of Super Assassins, I'm like, okay, I'm all in. Like, I mean, I enjoyed the Omega run. Like, I really enjoyed that. And then, like, okay, whatever. I got to this and went, oh, okay.
Yeah.
Okay, Conway's cooking now. Like, and I love Conway. I'm a big Conway fan. His Spider-Man run is probably my favorite. Yeah, I think he's brilliant. Which also, side note, I did not know he created Killer Croc. I kind of remember something about Jason Todd, but I didn't know he created Killer Croc. That's crazy. So the next issue, we get, like every good team needs, you need a good team of supervillains. And we have the Fatal Five, but now we have the League of Super Assassins. And I don't know who these are. Joe Staten is. I'm not sure. Chris, are you familiar with this artist at all? I mean, I'm not at all.
No, in fact, I had to do a double take because there's a video game creative director who shares this name, and I was like, wait a second, Joe Staten, who was on Halo for a long time. He was a creative director at Number 3 Industries, and I was like, Joe Staten, but it's a totally different guy. Just a coincidence.
But no, he co-created Huntress.
Oh, okay. With Paul Levitz.
So like, with Paul Levitz, and he had a long run on Green Lantern, so he ended up creating a bunch of the Lantern Corps. Was it Salvik and Kilowog and a bunch of those characters.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
So he's kind of prolific then.
Yeah, like he was around a lot, particularly in the 70s. I think he really started. But yeah, you could find him on a number of things, particularly at DC, but he did E-Man. That was like his own thing that he did for a bit. He did Dick Tracy for a little while.
Okay. Interesting.
Yeah. No, he's an interesting guy.
He's efficient.
Yeah.
Like he's not like, he's not like how I would explain his layouts his art overall. He's definitely a layout artist. Like there's not a lot of style in what he does, but he's such an efficient storyteller that I really enjoyed like reading these comics because he just is a really efficient like teller. So yeah. So what anything I love this issue. My God, does it have two? Weird. This stuff was probably my favorite run, part of the favorite run of the arc. Again, I think his art's really good. I just love this character. What can you tell us about the League of Super Assassins that we may not know reading these issues? Any background information we need to know about, or any side notes, if you will?
No, not really. I mean, it was honestly just Conway trying to come up with something to add to the mix, and there was already different leagues, there. So right. League Super Villains and some other stuff. So it was like, oh, League of Super Assassins, you can do that. And in a typical Jerry Conway way, it's like, all right, well, let's make them somewhat sympathetic. So they're trying to get revenge for these deaths and all that. And obviously, for anyone who's more familiar with the Legion, like this is also the first appearance of Block, who will go on to become a fan favorite Legionnaire for quite a number of people.
Dude, I'm gonna throw it to you in a second, Chris, but bear with me for a minute. Reading this, when we started reading the characters, he was the first character I went to and I like this guy. He's cool.
Yeah.
But dude, I have no history of like Legion, right? So I'm reading this and I'm like, this Block guy is pretty rad. And as we get in here, I'm like, when he eventually joins the Legion, I'm like, yes. Like, I'm like, they're reading my mind. So that's so funny. Chris, what was your take on these? I think they're only in the first two issues, if I'm not mistaken, or not this issue and the next issue.
I think so. Yeah.
What's your yeah, what's your take on the League of Assassins here? And were you familiar with Block before?
No. Well, vaguely, but not overridingly. I think, this feels like more substantive fallout from what happened with Omega. But also too, it's just like the Legion is getting it from multiple sides, which I
Right.
kind of appreciate, because not only are they like demoralized and they're trying to pick the pieces up, but they're also not sure if they're going to exist, right? In a little
Yeah.
further into the future.
Yep.
And I appreciate when stories can sort of bring to bear threats on a few different fronts, because it's hard for the chips to get further down than that. And they kind of show you who they really are and what really drives them at the end of the day. So on that basis, I appreciated it. And yeah, so this is where we see Brainiac. Is it St. Croix that he's in? Is that the name of the institution? Yeah.
Yeah.
And for me, like Brainiac 5 looms pretty large in terms of like the Legion's identity. So having to deal with insanity from such an important member of the team is just on top of all the stuff that's going on with RJ Brand. Like that stuff I think gives another level of depth to everything that they're dealing with. And that's probably what I appreciate the most. I'm still super distracted by Cosmic Boy's corset.
But I know, right? His costume is just out.
Oh, man. Is that a
part of why it was that was a Grell thing?
Oh, okay.
Because Cockrum was starting to strip them all down, and then Grell was like, I might as well finish the job.
Equal opportunity, right?
Yeah.
Hey, I mean, might as well. I mean, yeah.
Yeah, it's that costume finally goes away during the Great Darkness saga.
Okay. So
it's kind of crazy.
All right, so we get the League of Assassins. They all get captured. I know Brainiac helps out. This issue is interesting. I have a question for Joe. So this issue is about Superboy, and it kind of focuses on Superboy, kind of going back and forth into different, time frames. Is this in a way Conway setting up what's going to happen with Superboy later on? You think, or is this more of like just coincidence? Oh, okay.
No, this is absolutely because, like, this is just a few issues before he sets that up, and I'm sure they had made the decision that they were going to move Superboy off the book when Conway took over. If not, like, shortly after that, because that's a big decision to be swapping that, because then they're also going to be having to figure out, where are we going to put, Superboy and all that. So I really wouldn't be surprised. And again, because this is happening now when Jerry knows he has the book indefinitely. So
do you think was it? So you think that Superboy coming off the team was a Jerry decision or a Paul Levis's like editorial decision? Like they want
up.
Okay,
it was absolutely higher up, which is it's crazy that the Legion of Superheroes was so popular that they kicked Superboy out of his own monthly comic.
How does that? So that's what happened. The Legion was so much more popular than Superboy. They thought that he was detracting from the Legion itself.
Yeah, they didn't need Superboy to sell the book anymore. Like it changed. Like Legion needs to be there to sell Superboy. So yeah, because they were part of Superboy, that it was Superboy and Legion Superheroes, that it was just Legion Superheroes. That doesn't happen That's not a thing that happens.
Jeez. Chris, what's your take on this issue? Because you're a big Superman guy. Would you? This seems like a solid Chris issue for some reason.
Yeah, I mean, look, anytime you're going to have something that has a focus on him, it's naturally going to pique my attention a little bit. I kind of like the sort of time heist quality that this one has, you know,
Oh, yeah.
and then like it's a time heist sort of a thing, and then the solution is for them to go back even further, and it's just like Shrinking Violet having a little brief moment there with who he's supposed to be was very charming to me, but it's also like it kind of got me thinking, because I had a peripheral level of awareness that Superboy was getting stripped out of the book. I didn't have the context that on the sales side they didn't think they needed him anymore. That's news to me.
Yeah.
But at the same time too, like if I trying to put myself in the position of someone who was reading this at the time, like would I have been cool with that? Like if I was a Superman fan who was brought into the fold of the Legion primarily, or at least mostly, because of his involvement, would I be ready for him to be stripped out of it? I'd like to think that sure. But
you wouldn't. You'd be bummed. You'd be disappointed.
I might be. Well, I mean, I don't know, because
I know you, Chris.
we were talking about.
You'd be bummed.
Well, but it's not like there's a shortage of Superman books at this time either. You know,
But
like it's not like
wasn't there? I mean, I don't know. Was Joe? You guys tell me. Was there a lot of
Well, there were, but like Superman was starting to wane by the very end of the 70s in popularity. You know, it was slow, which then led them to Crisis like a few years later. It wasn't at that point yet. It was still outselling like I'm pretty sure at this point Superman was still more popular than Batman, but this was also the rise of the team books. So DC at this point was pushing Legion to be more of its own team, and to also do New Teen Titans, which was happening around here. I think we're still like a few months out or so from the debut of New Teen Titans, but
well,
they're building that up. Yeah.
We have Superman and we have Action. DC Presents was still going on during this time.
Yep.
So and that was like the Superman book that for Brave and the Bold, effectively, is Superman teaming up with a bunch of other characters. So all I'm saying is that, like, if I'm trying to think back to what's going on here, I still have 3 monthly books where I could get Clark if I really wanted to go there. And I mean, that's still pretty unheard of as far as one character supporting that many books. And this was effectively the 4th one. But I think I would like to think that if I was in the position of having read everything up to this point, like we've done for the previous episodes that we've done of this show, I mean, I'm invested in these people. I'm invested in these people independent of my investment in Superman. And Superman's, I guess, arc on the Legion, like, it's still going to be important, but you don't necessarily need him. And I mean, conceivably, he's already on borrowed time, right? I mean, the whole concept of Superboy has to end at some point, because he's going to grow up and become Superman. So
yeah,
I don't know. Like, I don't think it would be so cut and dry to be like, oh, bummer, because there's a bunch of other Superman titles where he's probably arguably far more in his element than he is in this book. But these characters are firing on all cylinders by this point, and we haven't even hit the major story yet.
Yeah. So moving on to this issue, This,
Yeah.
these next two issues are kind of weird.
That's a
There's
crazy good cover, though. I love that cover.
a great cover, a great cover. Oh,
Yeah.
okay. Well, no, yeah, no way, no wonder.
Yeah.
These
and
next
the title
two issues,
too. I love the title.
The title's
on this
great.
one.
The next two issues are just kind of just like the whole resolve of this is so not. It's just it feels like Conway's like not treading, but it feels like he's trying to get this over with. Like, all right, I cured Brainiac's insanity. It's like, what? You know, it's almost like you got hit in the head again. He's fine now. It's like, you know what I mean? Like, that's what it feels like. It's like, okay. I mean, whatever. Actually, it's better than that. Actually, I will say I did like what he did to bring him back into insanity for for the most part, but the stuff going on around it was like nonsense to me. I was like, what is this? So I don't know. What any comments about Brainiac's recovery, miraculous recovery?
I mean, it's still like at least like the full A plot of the story, and there are powers being used. I'm sympathetic because I have to imagine what ended up happening was, oh, Jerry, you've got the run, but like, so you're going to start writing, but we're going to do these 2 issues from Jim before you go. And then Jim drops that fucking bomb. So Jerry probably has certain plans in his run and wants to use Brainiac 5 and is like, fuck, all right, I gotta let me figure out how to fit this in, and I have other things I want to do. I don't want to spend too much time on this. I have it to go. So like I am sympathetic to that.
Yeah. So anything really quick? Are we gonna move on? I actually want to talk about the next issue a lot. There's a lot of interesting things in this next issue. Anything you want to add to this real quick, Chris?
I just would like to see the alternate dimension where I've gone crazy and my family takes me to Disneyland where there are tableaus of events in my life to try to get my mind straight. Like it's
same.
I just love the creativity that's on display in that one. I mean, it's a really novel and fun way to try to shake things loose and to get it back to a semblance of sanity that is not guaranteed. So I had fun with it.
So this issue is really fascinating because a couple different things. You've got the plot of the Legion going broke starts getting more in the forefront. You have, the Legion kind of figure all that out. And not only that, you have a side, a backup story essentially drawn by Steve Ditko and written by Jerry Conway, 2 Spider-Man legendary, collaborators that never worked together, I don't think, before this, but are like pretty much responsible for making Spider-Man who he is. Essentially, I credit it goes to me, Stan Lee, Ditko, Romita, Conway. Like those to me are the 4 pillars of Spider-Man. And it's crazy that Ditko and Conway are only united on a Legion of superhero story. And before I throw it to you guys really quick, a side note, one last side note. I don't know, Chris, and I'm sure you read it through DC Universe. Joe, I'm not sure if you knew this. So you can kind of tell when they've scanned, like they didn't have the original art and they did a scan from an actual comic book. Like it's littered throughout the, like all these issues. Like it'll be like a missing page. You can tell they just took it and scanned it. This entire comic is a scan. The entire thing. So they don't have any original art to go back and recolor, which, to be honest, I'm thankful for because I'm tired of recoloring computerized. I just do this for every issue, in my opinion.
Yeah.
But anyway, I just thought it was interesting that this whole entire comic is they had to scan it because they couldn't get the original art. So anyway, give me a little bit issue about this issue. Any tidbits here?
Well, I mean, it's to your point, it is insane that not only did that happen, but it was for a backup story with duo damsel and bouncing board. It's honestly great to see them back. And again, this is like really building on the continuity of just like, oh, bouncing board and duo damsel haven't been in an issue for a very long time at this point.
Yeah.
So yeah,
like a long time.
Yeah, so like that was really cool.
What about the penciler in the backup?
Yeah,
that's what we're saying.
That's
crazy.
It's crazy. Nuts. It's more than crazy. It's absolutely nuts. In the best possible way.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Right.
Yeah, and we do get, I think, one more issue drawn.
One more, yeah, a whole issue.
Well. A whole issue, which again, crazy.
Yeah.
What's crazy? I read the cover because I love the covers. The covers are great.
Oh yeah.
I love having bubbles, not thought balloons, but dialogue balloons in covers. I think it's always fun to have that. And when I saw at the bottom a backup story with Jerry Conway and Steve Ditko, I was like, what? And so yeah, that was a surprise. But this is what I'm starting to think, like, man, they're like, Jerry Conway's getting real. Like, the one thing that Conway loves to do is bring in a real world dynamic, which that's what made Spider-Man so good. Him and Spider-Man's a great combination, is that during the time, Conway could dig into the real world. Not like one for one, like, what if this is the real world? No, he took real world ideas and put them into the hero's life and made it like, oh, like this is like you could totally see this happening if this was real life. That's what, that whole idea, right? So I love to see that play out in this next couple issues.
Oh yeah.
So we get the next issue here, and this is where we have the the Psycho Warrior, right? This is a really weird issue, but obviously, what's the guy's name? The guy goes broke. What's R.A. Was it?
R.J. Brand.
R.J. Brand.
Brand. Okay. I was not expecting the reveal in this, but I loved it. And like, even though the Psycho Warrior stuff was kind of like whatever, but I loved it. I thought this was great personally. Chris, what'd you think of this reveal of the RJ Brand going broke, and who broke him?
I thought it was awesome. I mean, it adds more substance to this, like it's political intrigue that is accessible for children in a weird way, I mean, it's like, but there is a maturity to it, because this would be debilitating for an organization to go through, and to have it take place at the highest levels of the government is it's kind of hair raising. So there's just a lot of different layers to this that I certainly wasn't expecting going into reading these, and it's one of the reasons why it's delightful to discover just the ideas that everybody was playing with, and I think that they do a good job of setting up Brand as maybe a little too idealistic for his own good, but that, I mean, you need to have something for the Legion to step in and help save on that front too. So yeah. I liked it, and cool setup. I mean, I didn't really realize that it was set up until the next issue, but looking back on it now, it's like, yeah, this is a nice table set for pretty big moment, and you can see they got a lot of pride for what this title is now on this book.
Dude, yeah. I saw this cover when Joe first sent me the list of issues to read, I just kind of started perusing around, and I saw this, and I said it to him. I just said, "LOL!" Like what the like it's like Superboy's crying, like I have to leave the Legion. Oh! It's just this issue is pretty ridiculous, in a good way.
Yeah.
I love the psycho war. Like, how do we know this psycho warrior? He was an inmate of this whatever. You know, it's like he losing his wife after banging on a spaceship was too much for him to overcome. You know, it's like, oh boy. Yeah, this one. I will say, like, how Superboy leaves is so weird to me.
Mhm.
Like it's very out of nowhere. Chris, Joe, am I wrong on this? Because it feels like, because it's Saturn Girl who makes him see Pa Kent, right? Ma and Pa Kent like graves. Is that right? Or am I getting this confused?
Does she make him see it?
Like,
What
isn't it?
It's what was it? He is now realizing it's all from the Psycho Warrior,
Right.
makes him see, like, makes it so now he is thinking these things. So like Saturn Girl is giving him like a block because it's tied to like him as like a kid. It's like she can't prevent him from remembering that when he goes home, because he can only not remember what is relevant in their time, but like he's still going to go back and remember that gravesite and all the like. So she does the bit at the end to be like, oh well now I'm making it so he's not going to be able to come back. You know.
Okay, that makes more. Okay, that's why I thought it was very confusing. I was like, because I guess
it's a mind warp, because when he's down in the depths and he's confronting that image and he's like thinking through it, like, no, you were alive when I left the 20th century. So relatively speaking, you're alive, but you're not. And it's like a slow descent into a level of instability that is very, very unlike either Superboy or Superman. And it makes all the sense in the world, because they provide the foundation of his world. In regardless of the era that you're looking at, when his parents either die or are otherwise injured or taken off the board in a multitude of different ways, it's a really destabilizing influence on his mental state. And, we've seen across his history how he ultimately ends up dealing with it, like in the far future, but he still misses them, understandably so. But here, as a boy, especially, I think that's a really key element of it. He's not ready to handle that yet. And the Legion has the understanding and the compassion, really, to make it so that he doesn't have to deal with that again. At least if they have anything to say about it. So, yeah, I mean, I saw it as a comment not just on the importance of his adoptive parents, but also like a really effective distillation of the idea that he is still a boy, and he doesn't have he does not deal with it in the same like, even if Superman, when he deals with the losses of his parents in one way or another, is deeply impacted by it, when you couple adolescence with that kind of loss, it's not pretty, and the Legion understood that. So I really appreciated it.
To make sure I understand this correctly, so that when the reason why Superboy didn't mess with the time frame before was because Saturn Girl blocked him. I must have missed that somewhere or forgot that. So that's an actual continuity thing that Saturn Girl is responsible for.
He can't remember anything when he goes back to his own time.
Yeah, right. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. I want to know the events that happen in the future at their time, because Saturn Girl blocks everything else. Okay. All right. That's pretty genius,
retains
actually.
the memories when he goes there. Like when he comes back, he remembers what happened last issue.
Yeah.
But when he's dropped back
But
in his own time.
Yeah, I mean that's even like just a Legion like code thing of like it would be a violation of rules of time travel sort of thing. It's like
fair enough,
that sort of thing. So
gotcha.
They do.
Yeah. Well,
okay.
I really like that issue, but gentlemen, I do have to call it there.
Yes.
I will look forward to the next time we all get together. And Joe, thank you for curating this for us and taking us through. And long live the Legion, gentlemen.
Yes.
Yes. Good night, Chris. I'll talk to you later.
Take care, guys.
All
right.
Night. See ya.
Okay. Before we get into this issue, I do have to tell you one of the issues that I had you skip. I think it was 265 is the issue that's basically the Poochie the talking dog issue of Legion, where Tyrock has to go back to his home and just leaves the Legion.
Poochie.
It's literally a story that's just like, I have to go back to my city needs me, and he leaves. And that's basically the story.
Dude, hilarious is it's Conway, but J.D. Mateus is the script.
Yeah.
That's hilarious. I must go back to my homeland now. That's hilarious. Oh wow. Yeah, he never was he wasn't in the Legion that long. He didn't do much.
No, he's rarely seen in the background even of like these issues. Like they just didn't know what to do with him.
Yeah. Well, what we do know what to do with is this Fatal 5 story was pretty rad. Yeah. This was I would say that this was probably like I'd say my favorite next to the League of Assassins. This was great. This is Conway cook straight up. Conway straight up cooking here. Yeah. This was a very interesting little arc here because we got 3 issues of the Fatal 5, and because we had the Dark Man he was introduced before this, right? Like he was introduced in he was the one leading the League of Assassins before.
There was there's like reference of him. He's like a slow burn kind of thing. So
yeah. So the Dark Man is this kind of boogeyman character that they have to fight and do all this stuff around. And I think these if I remember correctly, this is what we have some great stuff here with Timberwolf, who is definitely one of my favorite Legionnaires. Great stuff here. I love Bryn. He's great. It's Bryn, right? That's his real name, Bryn.
Yeah, Bram. Yep.
Yeah, Bryn. He's great. Talk about Wolverine much over here. I mean, look at this. Like, come on. I mean, it's I love it. I ain't gonna lie. It's great.
Yeah.
So, like this stuff here is great. Like the whole Dark Man, who was a Dark Man, was pretty interesting. Because for those who don't know, the Dark Man, I'm just gonna say what it is. I don't care. Whatever. Dark Man is a clone version of Thorok, whatever his name is. How you say his name? And what was I don't know. Does Conway love clones or something? Like you have Ben Riley, right? It was Conway. He loves his clones, man. I don't know what it is. I love this. This is a great story. I love the Fatal 5. What can you tell us about these 3 issues? Anything like any background information we need to know about on this one? Because this was a good story, I thought.
Yeah. No, I mean, this is not so much background information, but I mean, this really fundamentally changes the dynamic of the Fatal 5. And moving forward, I don't know if we really see them together again in the same exact way. Like this is really
Interesting.
like the
Okay.
biggest change that the Fatal Five like,
Okay.
which again is nice because so many Fatal Five stories do have
Yeah.
some kind of, really major consequence. And in
Sure.
this particular story, the consequence is like the Fatal Five are like fundamentally different, really going forward. I mean, the kind of stuff you see later on, like they run into the characters, but it's just not like it's different. We'll get to some
Yeah.
of it eventually, but yeah.
I'm excited about that because the one thing I'm trying to go the reveal of the Dark Man and how his like brain gets, oh my god, it's out of control. I
It
love it.
really is.
It's so ridiculous. But this is great. Like this, it really reminded me of why I love team books, to be honest.
Yeah.
And how like this to me was like it just dawned on me here, Joe, but this to me feels like Conway wanting to do X-Men.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
this straight up reminds me of like an X-Men story, like in the best way possible. Like that because like all the different interconnection of the characters, the development of the characters. Block this is where Block comes into like the fold and becomes a Legionnaire essentially. This is where I was reading this. I'm like, wait, does Block join the team? And you didn't have us read the next issue. But I looked at the next issue and went, oh, is where he gets to join the team. Sweet. He joined the team. I was so excited.
Yep.
Yeah, I'm trying to see what happens here with that's right. Because Thorok and the Dark Man, they collide and they evaporate each other.
Yeah.
So I'm sure we all know, I'm assuming he comes back at some point. So I will say this. I'm intrigued of how he comes back. But yeah, these 3 issues are fantastic. These are probably my favorite of the series so far. These are great.
Yeah, no, it's a really great story.
So before we go any further, do you have, of all these issues, what are your favorites? I'm curious. What are the ones that stick out to you the most out of all the ones we've read today? Have we got there yet? Or yeah.
No, I mean, honestly, this storyline is up there. I got like the Omega stuff, just the Jim Starlin art alone is just crazy. Those are all high points for me, and the League of Assassins stuff. It's more or less the same. I mean, I enjoy all of it just from being such a fan. Like in every issue, there's always like something, even if it's just like a little moment between a couple of characters.
Sure.
But one important thing that takes so we had to skip a few things, just some important little bits. RJ Brand is revealed to be Chameleon Boy's father.
Yeah, that was really weird.
Yeah, that's really weird out there thing, but that's what they did.
But that was I started reading those issues that you told us to read that I hadn't gotten to. I started reading. I never finished it, obviously.
Yeah.
But I remember it said in the box. Love those editor notes, by the way. Those never get old. It says as revealed in issue 3. I was like, wait, what?
Yep.
That's crazy. I am curious how that all works out. I will definitely read that.
Yeah, no, it's good to read. It's a nice bit too, and it might serve for some people as a way to get them into the Legion, maybe. But yeah, so that happens, and Ultra Boy is seemingly killed off by Pulsar Stargrave in the episode.
Okay.
In a couple of issues, the issue or 2 prior to this one. So those are some of the big things. But yeah, there's. Again, it's just impossible at this point. Conway is cranking out stories, so there's always something important happening, but just can't read it all.
Yeah, no, you really can't. So this issue is interesting. I'll be honest, not my favorite issue, but it's Steve Ditko.
Well, that's the thing. I had to be like, I can't make them not read the full issue drawn by Steve Ditko.
You can't. You have to. But yeah, and it was. I will say that how about this? I actually liked it. I remember I liked it more than I realized, mainly because of the Mordu reveal. That was great. I mean, this is so stupid, Joe. I saw it coming when they had like the words. I'm like, this all seems like a Mordu. That I kept calling him Merlin in my head. I'm like, is that Merlin? What's his name again? I'm like, but I knew I knew it was the wizard guy that was coming back. Which that was a fun like reveal too, right there. Again, you're bringing back, like you said, Conway's bringing back using all the tools or the toys in the toy box, if you will. So,
no, absolutely,
yeah. Steve Ditko's insane. That's confirmed as usual. Just this was what I will say. The Ditko and Mordu thing alone was worth the price of admission. Was my favorite issue, but it was definitely, that was really fun. Okay, you're gonna have to explain this whole thing to me because I was very confused. Because I'm like, Ultra Boy, like he died. So he died in the secrets of?
No, he died a few issues.
Yeah,
earlier.
a while ago.
Yeah.
Well, okay, so it was
just like two issues before those, like he died.
Okay, so I thought, I'm like, I don't think I ever saw him die, but I was starting to doubt myself. But no, so I did not read those issues. Okay, so Ultra Boy did die. But then we get this whole weird thing about Superboy being Repulsor?
Reflecto, yeah.
Was that Reflecto, excuse me.
Yeah.
So what the hell is going on? Explain this to me, because I'm so confused what's going on in these issues.
Well, the whole point is you're supposed to think Reflecto's Ultra Boy because the Legion has done this bit before where I've come back, but I'm wearing a mask or I'm doing something, and it's like, oh, I'm really I'm really Starboy or whatever. They've done that a lot especially in like the Silver Age. So this is a callback to that, and they're leaning on you as the reader to be like, oh, well, obviously it's Ultra Boy, and then it's the big reveal that Superboy is back. So it's like this story that's also part of what I really like about this story is Grimbor's back. He's such an insane villain.
Yeah, it's like his S&M get up, and he's like, "Hey guys, I'm back," and it's like, "I got these crystals, gonna change your world away." It's like, what? I'm an S&M in your Earth.
This is so fucking crazy. It's so fucking crazy. So like, it turns into like, how do I like the Reflecto stuff gets referenced and all of that, and also just Superboy rejoining the team, I thought was an important way to cap the reading off, especially after the dramatic exit. It's like, let's make sure we show him returning, but also Grimbor. I love Grimbor. We read that issue a long time ago now with the Mike Rell, and I think this is the first time he's come back since then.
It is, yeah, because he talks about he's in jail the whole time. They said, like, I've been in jail the whole time. I'm like, what? So yeah,
but it's such an incredible comic booky thing to do. Like, I am going to literally chain the world and suffocate it by squeezing on these chains. I'm like, that's so crazy. And I love that element of it so much. It like, you can only do that in a comic book. You could never really adapt it that well in a movie or anything. It's so insane. It's so unhinged. It feels almost like a gym shooter teenage boy issue.
Yeah. No, you're great point. Great point. Like, it's so asinine it works, right?
Yeah,
Like that's
like
and
yeah,
only a kid would think about that, right? That's a good
yeah.
point. So okay, so explain. Does the Reflecto thing get explained how Superboy even gets to there in the first place? Because I don't,
Yeah, there,
they don't really they don't explain it in this issue.
there's a whole bit where someone did mind wipe Superboy and make him think he was Ultra Boy.
It was the purple guy, the purple hooded guy. Was it
That's the
him?
time trapper, yeah.
Okay. That's what when I was reading this, I'm like, wait, what? The time trapper? It was just kind of weird. He kind of shows up and is like, "Ah, I'm back." You know, I manifested
Yeah.
myself, and then he's like, "Oh," and then he just kind of goes away. I'm like, they don't go after him.
Well,
Like,
there's more. They follow up with the time trapper in the next issue, which for the Great Darkness Saga story, we're going to do the immediate aftermath of this as well. But
okay,
like,
cool.
yeah, because it is important, but it was at a point where I'm like looking at the reading order, I'm like, we can't keep going. So I had to make the decision to be like, the Great Darkness Saga goes through like 294 or whatever, like doing from like 281 to like 294 or 295 or something is it's fine. We'll manage. There's at
Yeah.
least one issue I think we can skip to, but like it's going to be a little less than this, I think, ultimately. So
Well, I mean, you know what's funny, and as we wrap up here, it's like the nice thing about this is like because with the Great Darkness Saga, like with trades, I love sitting down and like reading a comic, right? Like
yeah,
that's why I love physical media, right? But and the one thing, I'm someone who likes a little bit of both of like digital and physical, right? Now, as you
absolutely.
see, I have it all fired up on my iPad on here. I get I don't know if you know this about me, Joe. I don't know if I talked about this before. I walk a lot. Like I
Uh,
pace my house to get steps to exercise because just whatever.
sure.
And what's great about that is not only do I get to like I can play my bass and walk around, which is great, but what's also great is the fact that I can read comics when I'm pacing because I have a long ways like downstairs that I can just pace and read comics on this thing. It's harder to read I've tried reading comics like this walking around. It doesn't work
Yeah.
because the light, the
Yeah.
glare. But on an iPad, it's perfect. So when you give me a big binge, I'm like, I get up
Yeah.
really early in the morning and I just binge like 3-4 issues at a time, and I can blaze through this
Nice.
thing. So I
Yeah.
love that. So when you give me a lot of homework, I'm like, it's all good because I just binge it on this thing. So I love
Right.
that.
Awesome.
As we wrap up here, I just it's amazing to me how many great writers have worked on the Legion, you
Yep.
know? And I say this every time, but it's crazy to me, Joe, that DC has not found its next set of writers
Yeah.
to really not nail down these characters. Because I'm
Yeah.
like, why? Like these are such rich characters in such a rich time. Why haven't they been like since Paul Levitt's essentially? I mean, let's there's a run after Paul that I'm not aware of that you're really into, but it feels like no one like there's not really like they never really were grasped after this. Is that correct?
I mean, I think they were never universally loved. Like, I feel like every run after that that's good is still divisive. Like,
Okay.
like Legion 5 years later, I really like, but it is a divisive run.
Mm.
The trying to think the Dan Abbott, Andy Lanning stuff is really good.
Those are good writers. I like that team.
Yeah.
Those are good
Yeah.
guys.
So
Yeah.
but it is slim pickings after that. There are some good bits where there's some bits that are like, well, At least it's the Legion. You know,
At least it's the Legion, whatever.
yeah, exactly.
That's awesome. Well, the Great Darkness Saga is something that I've even heard about years and years and years ago. And
Yeah.
I'm very excited that we are getting to that next. And we are definitely going to get to it a lot sooner than we did last episode, because one of the reasons, if people didn't know, reason we haven't gotten to it is because we were doing our Superman, and we were just kind of trudging through that. And so I just didn't have enough time and bandwidth to bring on one of Joe's giant binges. So now that's done, it's over. In a couple months after, I think probably sometime after Christmas.
Yeah.
I am ready to get into the Great Darkness Saga. So I'm excited to get there. I'm like I said, every time I read more of these stories of the Legion, I'm glad that I get to read it. I cannot wait. I bought this at in stock trades to for when it's time, I can have it and ready to go. I'm excited. I can't wait. I cannot wait. I'm looking forward to it. Before we get out of here, why don't you tell people what you got going on in your comic world here? What you're writing?
Sure. I think I mentioned this last time I was here, but King Arthur and the Knights of Justice Volume 2 through Mad Cave's Maverick imprint came out in June. You can still order that as well as Volume 1.
Cool.
Very happy with how that came out. I had an 8-page story in Young Men in Love Volume 2, which is out through Wave Blue World. You can get that as well on their website. I have a story in Horror Not Hate, which is on Kickstarter with a pre-launch page right now. That's an anthology. It's a benefit. So, check it out. There's a lot of other creators involved as well. A lot of the people I really like. So that's definitely worth it. And you can follow me. Like I'm on Twitter and Blue Sky at Joe Corallo, JoeCorallo, and Corallo Joe on Instagram. So when I do have updates on things, you can follow me there and I'll post them.
Yes. You're a great follow. You're keeping us up to date. It's good stuff. Yeah. So next week we have a break off next week, and then or how's this work? Oh yeah. So actually, I keep forgetting this is actually happening. If for those who don't know, For the Love of Comics, the YouTube channel, Angshaman is going to come back, who's fantastic. I'm not sure. Are you familiar with that YouTube channel at all?
I'm not sure. I'll have to look into it.
He lives in India. He's fantastic. He's introduced me to so many independent comics that he loves, and he's just like the nicest man in the universe. Like, I don't think I've ever met anyone nicer than him. And he's got tons of great content out there. He's just a great guy. I've had him on before, and we have this new kind of like a couple times a year show. It seems, or at least I'm hoping there's a second one we're going to be doing where I give him like a superhero comic, because he didn't grow up on superhero comics like we did. He grew up on more independent stuff, and that's his world, and my world's more superhero stuff, and so we have this thing now where we exchange reads. Like, I give him something to read that he hasn't read that's a kind of like maybe that's not in his wheelhouse, and he gives me something that's not really in my wheelhouse necessarily, or something along those lines. And yeah, so the last episode we did was he gave me Day Tripper, and then I gave him Kraven's Last Hunt. So we got to talk about, it was a lot of fun. So I did a couple other episodes with him. He's fantastic. He's great. Go check those episodes out if you haven't already on our channel. But he's coming back the last Saturday of November. He's jumping on with me, and we're going to have a blast doing our exchanges. I gave him Immortal Hulk, and for the love of God, I always forget the name of the thing that he gave me. It's oh my God, what is it called? I'm terrible with names. You have to forgive me. I'm terrible with names. As soon as I see it, I'm going to be like, there it is. I've already read it, which is sad. because I'm like, I liked it, but it's got a weird name. Granville.
Okay.
So it's a Granville independent comic with anamorphic animals, or obviously animalmorphic, talking animals. Super interesting. Can't wait to talk about that. We're gonna we're gonna talk about all our things. And then next month we have a Christmas episode about presents to get people, gift ideas. We're gonna break down the latest Marvel and DC crossovers, Knights Never Die. So lots of stuff. And also, if you're still watching this by chance, my band's first new single drops this Friday. So Victory Formation is the name. And Joe, I'll just reveal the title of the song is called Winkler Device. Are you familiar with what the Winkler Device is?
Yeah, I'm not sure.
Okay. It's a Spider-Man reference.
Mm-hmm.
It's what the Hobgoblin uses to get Ned Leeds to convince him that he is the Hobgoblin.
Right.
So, and like it's used many times. So,
Yeah.
Big Spider-Man deep cut there but I'll just throw it here. The song is about the Hobgoblin, but it's not a parody song by any means, but it's kind of like from the perspective. Anyway,
Nice.
Really excited. If you like shoegaze, post-punk, that's up your alley. So, Joe, next episode, Great Darkness Saga. Let's go.
Yep.
Let's go. All right. So
we've been building up to it for literal years.
Yeah, years. But it's worth it. I'm ready.
Yeah,
I'm ready. I'm ready for here and afterwards. So anyway, Chris isn't here, so I'll say it for us. Read more comics. Good night, everyone.